Hello, dear viewer. Many thanks to you for joining us on the program, The Arena, on Aneke Television. Today on the show, we are taking a look at a political matter. Political apathy amongst Nigerians, especially the young ones. Causes, root causes, and the way forward. These and more are what we'll be looking at on Aneke Television today on the program, The Arena. As you know, The Arena is a platform where we come to take on burning topical issues and matters ranging from different sectors. It could be political, it could be economic, it could be socio-cultural, it could be agriculture, it could be health, all on The Arena. But today we are launching on politics. So thanks for joining us. My name is Chris Anebo. And today we have joining us as our guest a principal lecturer as far as the Department of Public Administration in the Institute of Management and Technology, one of the foremost institutions we have in this part of the world here in Enugu is concerned, IMT Enugu. Dr. Emeka Nwanze is here with us in the studio. Doc, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, yes.
And we appreciate you for always responding when we call on you, sir.
And I'm glad to be in the arena forum.
Thank you very much, sir. So, dear viewers, sit back as the program unfolds. It is no longer news that Nigerians exhibit this attitude of I don't care, lack of interest, lackadaisical attitude towards politics, especially when we talk about political participation. What could be the root causes? What could be the implications? Is it affecting our development? All these and more. We'll begin with Dr. Emeka Nwanze on this note. When we say political apathy, please, sir, could you help us give a brief explanation, meaning, to the term political apathy? What is it?
Apathy simply means I am not interested in things that I'm supposed to be interested. Apathy comes in different dimensions. It could be political apathy, it could be apathy socially, it could be emotional apathy. But today we are looking at political apathy.
So we equally have social apathy?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
There are some people that are social. They don't like coming out. They are introverts. They don't like mixing up. They are shy. And that is their nature. To them, they have different types of, the way God created us. Some are sanguine, some are melancholic. And this thing determines who becomes apathetic socially, apathetic emotionally, and apathetic politically.
All right, so the issue of lack of interest is actually apathy in itself. But then we understand that politics is the superstructure upon which the economy, upon which development of society rides on. All other sectors could be considered to be substructure, but politics is the superstructure. When the people become apathetic to political development, how healthy is that for their development?
There is root cause of political apathy.
Before we get to the root causes, how dangerous is apathy politically?
It's so dangerous. That's what you cannot mention how dangerous it is without first
looking at the roots. So let's come to the roots
so, now, you are a political scientist. That is what I know for sure. And as a political scientist, there is one theory in political science that calls frustration aggression theory. First, you become frustrated the way politics and all that, and you say that politics is superstructure that controls the substructure. And in participating in the past, they have been devastated by, do I call it frustration? Because a hungry man is an angry man. One of the reasons why apathetic phenomenon becomes the order of the day, not just in the youth, but the majority of 90% of Nigerians. I've seen people in their discourse say, I will not vote again in this country. Some will say, I don't even know where I left my voter's card. But at the end of this discussion, we should know the various dimensions and the way we can participate in politics and the remedy to a kind of excuse us from the vestiges of apathy, because it has its consequences in the long run. Apathetic phenomenon could be caused by bad governance, corruption, unemployment, hardship, especially economic hardship, that the one we're experiencing today in Nigeria is biting, pains and penuries. And these things, in a long way, cumulatively, can cause apathy in political system.
All right, so that's a whole long list there you've just outlined as what could lead to apathy, political apathy amongst the citizenry. But I don't know. When do you think we started experiencing political apathy amongst the citizenry? Because aside from 1960, when we attained our independence politically, before the coming of the white man, we had pre-colonial societies. In the East, rather in the Igbo land, there was Igbo pre-colonial, system. There was just to the egalitarian, cephalous,
Republican too.
Total participation by the people, a more democratic system then, unlike what we had in the North, wholly centralized, in the West, quasi-centralized. But in all of this, Dr. Wanze, what I'm trying to establish is the record in history shows that our people had always practiced politics before the white man came. So, but at what point do you think we were actively involved in political participation, and at what point do you think we started dropping down the principles?
You have mentioned pre-colonial participation and political awareness. Then I want to start from post-independence disillusionment. Disillusionment is disappointment that has been orchestrated as a result of the way, the modus operandi under which politics has been played. Remember, before now, we have seen the vestiges of military dictatorships in quick successions after independence. And they always truncate a particular republic, a particular system, like you mentioned, as a result of one or two reasons. One of the reasons is that they will always say that politicians are corrupt. And they will always say that maybe one or two things, that the politics of Nigeria is played as a result of ethnocentrisms. That is ethno and ethnic politics. Now, there are certain things that makes the current dispensation of political apathy in a kind of in a geometrical progression. One of the reasons is this. In those days you mentioned, I remembered that I've never seen where they say there is a carrying of ballot boxes or pouring of acids or political violence. This political violence, as seen in current day politics, is one of the things that makes our youths to be politically apathetic. Sometimes our parents will tell their child or children or what, don't go and vote, so that they will not use you as a political talk to destabilize or truncate the activities of voting in a polling booth. These are the things. So when violence entered, our children and our youth started going, started becoming waxing cold. And the reason is that some our politicians are callous. Instead of giving enough political education and enlightenment, because light and knowledge makes you to have an edge. When they tutor them to be politically aware, the advantages of participating in a politics where you call yourself a citizen, those people will not resort to political violence or thuggery. So because thuggery have killed a lot of people, I've seen in a polling station where people come and begin to shoot sporadically. And the parents will tell you, nah, mom, don't go this country, a joke. Then again, you see people, you stay under the sun, you make your vote, you line up, you stay there being hungry, you cast your votes, defend your vote, but at the end of the day, what is voted is not what is announced, it's not what is pronounced. Along the line, there will be a shift. That's what we call rigging comes in. That is one of the things that makes people bad precedent, disillusionments. These are the things that are cumulative. That people will now say, vote, tata, or to na vote. Is it what I have contributed? Is it what my vote? That my vote doesn't count in this country. And at the end of the day, when the results will be announced, the government of the day will tell you that if you are not comfortable with the announcement of the result, you can go to court. Then on going to court, I believe that we are running 3 organs of government. It's not just the politicians that represents the executive organ. We still have the judiciary and the legislature. And under checks and balances, the judiciary is supposed to become the hope of the common man. But in current day, according to precedents, you come to the court expecting justice over electoral pronouncement and result. The court will also disappoint you by pronouncing what the chief executive have asked them to do, because they are under their prerogative of decisions and mercy. Then the legislature, the current of what is happening in our legislative, both red carpet and green carpet, is something to be ashamed of. And when people look at these things, the legislator that's supposed to become a kind of organ, can I show you the beauty of democracy is legislature? Why? Legislature stands to control the executive in terms of budgetary allocations, like what that's the budget of a country comes to the sittings of Nigerian legislature under the joint session of the House of Representatives and the House of the Senate. They have every infantry and powers, the muscle and the capacity to say, Mr. President, this budget allocation is too meager. Or in this allocation, the ministries like education, agriculture are not, the money that is allocated to them is not enough. The money that is apportioned to security. But then, I am so disillusioned too that the legislature will look at those abnormalities coming from executive fiat and they will not say anything about it. Rather, they will begin to look on a way to a kind of, do I call it, try to sit upon their own legislative rights by trying to connive with the executive powers. But that is not beauty of democracy. And these are the things when our youth look at it and they will begin to say, even the judiciary that are supposed to protect my interests as the hope of the common man is looking at me, and we are wallowing in abject disillusionment. These are the things. There is no way we can move ahead in our democratic dispensation where my right, fundamental human right as enshrined in the Constitution, which we discussed the other day, are not protected. And there are organs that protect this right. There are organs that pushes democracy to give it its beauty. The beauty of democracy, I said again, lies on ability of legislature to control the executive, and also lies in the ability of the judiciary, if they are independent, to stand and to unleash justice without fear or favor. You will agree with me that most judicial decisions that we witnessed in the recent past is as a result of the expectations of the people, not through due process or rule of law. Just one phone call, do these things this way. The decisions is this. We already sit at home, say that this thing will end this way, and at the end of the day, it will end that way. These are the things, when you look at it, are the things that makes our Nigerian electorates and the youth to be highly disillusioned and to be highly apathetic when it comes to political matters.
Well, interesting indeed. I wouldn't know. I hope time will be friendly with us on the show today. So all of these things are the problem. Now there is lack of trust, especially amongst young Nigerians on the system, the political system. Violence you have listed, poverty you've talked about, lack of trust you've talked about. Dr. Nwanze, I still ask again, at what point can we look at and say, this is actually when we went sliding down the precipice, looking at our journey so far? Yes, you made reference to post-independence. I could still remember that during the 1983 election, while former President Shehu Shagari was seeking for re-election, at the end of the election, Dr. Ezeagu and Obafemi Awolowo, who were the main contenders against him, had judged the election not to be free and fair. They called it a rigged election. So, but then at what point, and these were the founding fathers of our political history, the men who wrestled independence from the hands of the colonial masters, complaining that the system, the political system was corrupt to the point they called the election rigged election. So when can we say it was at this point we went sliding down the precipice?
We are in a country or in the part of the continent where rigging has become part of our political culture.
It has become.
Yes. Now, and this thing didn't start today. But I want to shock you. The truth is this. When in America, in the United States that gave us presidentialism as we borrowed from them, I've seen some contenders immediately after the election. The loser, he said, I am conceding defeat and I am congratulating the winner. They will put their calls, their phone and say, congratulations. But the political culture of African man and Nigerian per se, because Nigeria is an integral part of Africa, we lack that impetus and the culture to say congratulations to the winner. So political accusation of rigging election becomes part of that culture that we are talking about. But actually, in the
but
days...
you're not saying elections are not rigged, right? I'm
saying it's rigged. But I'm saying also the part of the culture we have as in this part of the world, Africans and in Nigeria, is that even when this election are done free and fair, I will give you instances of free and fair election that I've seen in these countries, and elections that have been rigged, and it was obvious that it had been rigged. Now, but contending and as an accusation that this election was rigged has become part of our political culture. That is why we find it difficult to say to the winner, the loser, congratulations, you have won.
Good luck, Jonathan.
Okay, now listen.
Good luck, Jonathan.
That's what I want to. I want to say, in fact, in
ahead.
2015, good luck, Jonathan, because of the nature of his political understanding and culture. Many people have different political culture, and your political culture determines how you participate in politics. So the good luck, Jonathan, saw that the then president, may his soul rest in peace, who is being laid to rest today or has been laid to rest today, defeated him in the election of 2015. Before the election could be finished, he picked a call and said congratulations. And that is what solved a lot of political brouhaha. That is what solved a lot of political manipulations and other things. And Nigeria started afresh from another dispensation. But also, there is elections that we have had in the past where even the winners have won. They are not pronounced. The election is still cancelled and annulled. In 1993 general election, the one that MK Abiola won in 16 states out of 30 states, because then Nigeria was running a 30 states federation. And the then president, Ibrahim Babangida, annulled the June 12th election. Something that is fresh in my mind, because at that level, that June 12th is always my birthday. I was celebrating my birthday. That was on Saturday, June 12th. All of us, we casted our votes, and at the end of the day, Babangida being the commander-in-chief in the days of military dictatorship, cancelled the election. And I believe that is one of the most furious and fairest elections that Professor Humphrey Nwosu, of the blessed memory, may his soul rest in peace, has conducted. And when honors are being given to the people that did
the principal players,
his name was swept to the carpet. And his son even was asking the role that my father played and his risk that he took and other things. He did marvelously well in that election by making sure that there was free and fair election.
Even though we know the current president, he gave him
the latest election, I will not be fair to myself if I don't discuss 2023 general election.
Go ahead.
Now, it is obvious. I voted, and I know that many people voted, and I saw what happened in the polling stations, that people voted their heart. And when electoral result was being pronounced, I quoted Dino Malaya. That was the electoral result that Dino Malaya was following. That the electoral result, those people that wanted to rig made an even mistake in trying to fix the date. And that there are certain things that happened in 2023 election. The beavers, all this electronic scenarios that was set in place to make sure that there was free and fair election, and that the votes that our votes counted. Would Nigerians spend money in billions? At the end of the day, they say that those things, electronic devices, failed, and they will result to manual counting of votes. And before you know it, the INEC will tell you that if you are not happy, you go to court. People that are being called that they have won tell you, if you are not happy, go to court. You still come to court. At the same time, the courts, the judiciary, will do one or two things. At the end of the day, when you hear the electoral result, you will be marveled. And let me tell you that if these things begin to run in quick succession, I'll tell you that our democracy will go back to square one. And it is high time we've, in this forum, say that in the next coming election, there has been a gimmicks, there has been a kind of alliances, coalitions of political parties coming up, trying to see if they can correct the abnormalities. And at the same time, I want to equally mention, as they're trying to come up with the solution, that the INEC should also try to become independent.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. We'll be looking at what we need to do to right in the wrongs. But then signals are coming that we actually need to go on a very quick short break. And when we return, the conversation continues. Dear viewer, yes, we are having a chat with Dr. Emeka Nwanze today, and we're looking at political apathy amongst Nigerians, especially the young ones. Which way forward? Stay with us. Don't go away. The arena shall return. Welcome to Aneke TV, the heartbeat of culture, truth, and innovation. From breaking news to inspiring documentaries, from grassroots traditions, mysteries of life to global perspectives, we'll tell your stories. We amplify your voice and your vision. With every screen we light up, we connect, inform, and empower. It's more than a television. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world. Okay, viewer, you're welcome back to the program, The Arena, on Aneke Television. Just as I told you before we went to that break, that Dr. Emeka Nwanze is here with us in the studios, talking to us about political apathy amongst Nigerians, especially the young ones. We'll return to you now, Doc. Yes, we've looked at the history, the background. We've looked at our journey so far. We've also looked at the root causes of political apathy. But now, I want us to launch on the implications of political apathy amongst the citizen. Is it taking us anywhere forward, or is it detrimental? When we say people are politically apathetic, lack of interest in the political process, the people are not interested, what does it leave us with?
There's so many implications of being apathetic in a policy, in a political dispensation. One, I would want to say that there is this adage since I was a youth today, they are leaders of tomorrow. But before I mention some of the implications, I want the leaders today to also give the youth the platform to become leaders tomorrow. Now, the implication is this. I was in a forum on Sunday at event in Grace Event Center that happened to be my church. I gave them a talk on political awareness and political participation. Let me link it to this evening discussion. If you are not politically aware and if you don't participate, you will become the product of, in the hands of those who participate. You know, sometimes they say that politics is a dirty game. That's one of the things that makes people not to participate. And you become where you are. If you think that politics is a dirty game, come and make it a clean game. Because if they want to allocate values, remember, like I said, the definitions of politics is one. David Easton says authoritative allocation of scarce resources. It is interplayers of actors in which each actor wants to gain a comparative advantage over the other. Then Harold Laswell said it is he who gets what, when and how. Let me stand from authoritative allocation of scarce resources. In every dimension, in every dispensation, scarce resources are always scarce. If you don't participate, you become a tool of those in the hands of those who participate. Whether they are doing it well or they are not doing it well, they stand the right either to give to you or not to give to you in terms of allocation of values. Now, I said it and I want to repeat it in this forum. Politics is not just participating to become a governor or a president or even a local government chairman. But if you participate in politics, there are certain things you could benefit. One, if you may have a moral standard and they will know you for becoming very good and upright. And the local government chairman is looking for treasurer. And he said, I want to make you the treasurer of my local government because you are an upright, because of your integrity, because of your accountability, because of your probity, because of what you stand. By that time, you are not per se a political office holder as a local government chairman. You have not even run an electoral position, but you have gotten an appointment. The governor of a state may say, hey, Professor Eze, you are a nice man. I know you very well. You represent a brand for integrity. Come and become the vice chancellor of this school. Come and become the rector of this school. With that, because you have participated in one way by voting, by even calling and saying, hello, congratulations, is part of political participation. Participation is not just going to vote. It's not only having voters card. It's not only electioneering campaign. You can, at the same time, look at what the governor of the state is doing now. We know we are running e-governance.
The governor of the state in Enugu State.
Yes, you can say, congratulations, you have done very well. You can equally report and say, hey, where I live at Ologo, the contractor you gave to that job is not doing anything good. Though. And we have reported. That was why the governor changed the contractor that was doing Ologo Road, who did it for 2 months, and he did not do anything. Now he changed and gave it another contract. Within 1 week, you see the work in action. Because we saw something and we say something. Because we participated in one. That's why we say there are some people that participate, gladiatorial political participation. Then we have parochial. For parochial, their own is not as quick as the gladiator. But the gladiators determines who gets what, according to Harold's last word.
When and how.
Now, if you are not part of who gets what, when and how, when the allocations of values will be allocated, your name will be eluded. And you will be crying from morning to night, from January to December, that this government, they don't remember me. How would they remember somebody they have not seen? Now, let me give you instances. In the days of Sullivan, the governor of Enugu State then, I participated in politics. After my MSc, I was disillusioned and I was embattered. Having married with kids, I didn't have much resources to feed my family. So I decided to enter politics. How? When I entered political mandate for Sullivan, it was like a pressure group that was supporting his governance. I became a bus driver. I want to say so that the viewers will hear my testimony and also come out from their hiding places or their cocoon where they are saying, I won't participate. If you don't participate, those that participate will control you. Then they gave me, in the 17 local government, there is always bus allocated to each local government. I was driving that of the local government where I hail from. Now, having been in charge of the bus as a driver, he didn't touch my certificate, he didn't touch my knowledge. But somehow, the rector of IMT then, late Professor Eneje, saw me and said, the young man, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself shows that you have been to the 4 walls of the institution. I said, yes, I am a political scientist. And he said, what level? I said, MSc level. That was how he brought me in. I didn't mean that I did not participate by being a driver. I don't know what my fate will be today because I know that unemployment is one of the reasons why our children and our youth are not participating.
That's
because their stomach infrastructure have not been harnessed. But there is a way you want to feed a child. If he places himself in position to receive the food, then the feeding will be going on very, very well. But there's a way you want to give him the spoon of maybe his pap or rice, and he doesn't position his mouth very well. The feeding will become very hard. That is the way I want to talk to Nigerian youth and Nigerians that are under my voice, that we shouldn't be playing our politics behind closed doors or at the backyard. We should come out. We should make a decision. We should pass accolades. No particular leader is do I call it complete or perfect? There is always perfection in imperfection, and it is a two-way traffic. Where they are not getting it right, you can chip in. Thank God that we are in the era of social media, where even if your voice is not heard, your write-up can be heard. You can type a message and say, Governor Pitamba, congratulations on your infrastructural development. You can equally type a message and say, Tinubu, continue in what you are doing in Nigeria. You can equally type a message and say, but the other aspect of taxation somehow is becoming unbearable to the Nigerian citizens. Remember, Albert Camus says that the essence of governance is to provide for the people what the people cannot provide for themselves. And right. If you go on infrastructure development without stomach infrastructure, there is a question mark in governance.
All right, still on the implications of political apathy. When Jonathan in 2015 conceded to defeat, through that single phone call to the late President Buhari and said, congratulations, Your Excellency, that actually seemed to have changed a whole lot of narratives. Because you know the mentality here in Africa, sit-tight syndrome. I will not relinquish power to another person. But for Jonathan to have told that path, a lot of political watchers and observers were of the opinion that our political culture seemed to have changed and the people's perception towards politics changed. And maybe perhaps that was what actually increased the interest amongst young people during the 2023 election, when people went all out there to get their voters card, their PVC, got ready, launched on the polling units, and turnout was encouraging. But I don't know if perhaps the turnout during the announcement of results had actually caused any problem. Do you think it has?
The turnout
the 2023 election. The turnout was massive, especially among young Nigerians. But do you think the outcome of the election has increased or has it affected
it depends.
Political participation?
Let me use my constituency in Ezeagu State.
Go ahead.
As a case. After the 2023 general election, the youths barricaded some of these INEC routes, waiting for electoral result to be announced. And the essence of barricading the route where INEC will go in to announce the result and come out is sends a signal. And that signal is a participatory signal and a dangerous signal, in the sense that the INEC officials knew that if they have done something as usual, business as usual, that the youths are going to go on rampage. It happened in Abia State, where the youths stood by the side of the female, do I call it INEC, resident electoral commission. It happened in Enugu State. For 3 days, the result was not announced, and the youths were waiting. You could bear with me. They started cooking on the mirrors of Opera Square, and somebody was sponsoring that cook. They even slaughter cow, waiting for the result, because they know that they have voted, and they are expecting their vote to be counted. And when the result was announced, everybody became calm. Had it been that the opposite of the result of Enugu State was announced, everybody, me, I was even getting ready to go to the village to stay because of the mayhem which it would have caused. But I thank God that it is what we casted that was announced, and the youth stood by it. Now, the other place in the
Let's go national.
National, that's in the national terrain. Labour Party, I can stand to tell you, and I stand to be contradicted, that if I've won an election in Lagos State, in Kano, and maybe in the Federal Capital Territory, you are good to go. The Labour Party won in this place that I've mentioned. And before you could know it, a lot of manipulation elsewhere. And the electoral result was announced. And people, like, instead of jubilating like in Enugu State, they were mourning. And I could tell you that I witnessed something that happened that morning. The cloud was also melancholic. The moment they announced the electoral result, the cloud became beclouded and melancholic. It had never happened in my life before. As if in March, it seems as if it's going to rain from morning till like in the dawn, in the dusk. And I said, well, I don't know, but I know that something, people's, do I call it, franchise has been upturned. And that is the reason why Nigerians are becoming the solution. That is where mistrust comes in against trust. That is where people are saying in 2027, there is no need going to cast the election. The election were casted and we knew who voted. At the end of the day, the person who voted even became third person in the electoral result.
Dr. Wanze,
and that is it.
Towing that path now is taking us back to the implications. Towing that path, is it not a dangerous path to tow for people to say, okay, no need, participating? Is that not going to be a dangerous
very, very dangerous, I said. Let me tell you this. I want to tell Nigerians, especially of the youth's extraction, to be politically aware more than ever before. Let me say this now that I have the privilege to say it. You cannot stand and say the election was rigged when you did not exercise your franchise. You don't have any moral right to stand and say that the election that you did not vote was rigged. I say it again. Nobody has right to say that this election, whether 2023 or the coming 2027 election, if you didn't vote, you automatically disqualify to talk about the electoral result, because it is someone that voted that can say that my vote did not count, not someone who did not vote. And I want to tell us that if we increase our political apathy to political participation in coming 2027 election, it is going to go a long way to produce what I call ethical leaders.
Ethical leaders. Thank you very much. I don't know, especially to the youth of the southeastern extraction. During election days, we see young people take to the fields.
I want to tell you something about youth of southern eastern extraction. There is an agitation before now over self-determination led by dear Nnamdi Kanu. Self-determination, that is secessionist agitation, which is not bad anyway.
Overcry of
yes, because we have said it time and time again, that this part of the country, it seems as if we are being treated as third-class citizens, not even second-class citizens. That certain level of equilibrium, which we have not attained, we are agitating for it. Now, the youths of southeastern extraction of Nigeria are also the solution. Some of them I have interviewed and they tell that they are not Nigerians, that they are Biafrans, and they are looking for sovereign state of Biafra. Whenever it comes, that is where their loyalty comes. And this goes a long way to affect their political participation. But I want to use this forum to say this, that in a country we see ourselves as a Nigerian, we should participate for the sovereign state of this country. Then if peradventure, through political gimmicks and political participation, because there is a current agitation to create one more state to drive for equilibrium or equity, then if in a way Biafran emerges or Yoruba nation emerges or Arewa people emerges, then we will now be loyal to one particular sovereign nation. But we cannot be loyal to country A and country B and expect our demands to be met. Let me tell you, I have been in the village where I chase rabbits. If two rabbits comes out from one mouth, you chase this one, you lose the two. And that is why I am so comfortable with the national anthem which they changed. I'm so comfortable with Arise, O Compatriots, and the national pledge, loyalty. You must be loyal to the state. It is even biblical. How? In Romans chapter 13 verse 1, it says, obey those in authority. Because there is no authority except that which God knows. And if you are going contrary to those who are in authority, then you are going contrary to the establishment that has been made by God. I am so conscious about that. And the same Bible says we should pray for those in authority. So rather than becoming apathetic, we should continue to pray. Some people will say prayers does not work. I believe of the fact that prayers works. But our timetable is not the same thing with God's timetable.
All right, so we've known the root causes of political apathy. We've actually looked at the implications of being apathetic to politics. Now, Dr. Wanze, what do you expect to happen? From now moving forward, you've complained of the judiciary not living up to expectation. You've complained of the system not working. Now you've equally posited that we have three arms of government that are supposed to be piloting the affairs of governance. And it seems the people are no longer having their trust on these arms of government. Constitutional review is ongoing right now. People are clamoring for judicial reforms. Some other persons are equally asking for electoral reforms, especially around INEC, because even with the coalition ongoing right now, at the end of the day, INEC will give us the results of whatever election. What do we need to do going forward from now so that we could start to
Let me
get it
start with
right?
judiciary. I am proposing for a better management case system and independent of judiciary. If we have independence of judiciary that is devoid of control from the executive organ, the judiciary will become a better judiciary starting from today. Then when it comes to things that are not working, there are youths out there that are battered and disillusioned. Create jobs for these youths. You know, P2B was saying something about consumption society and creating wealth. Our GDP will not increase, our gross domestic product will not increase, except when we go into production. And when we go into production, then the economy will be bettered. When we go into production, the measure of central tendency and global tendency in terms of naira, dollar, rising and falling will be a thing of the past. When we go into production, people, it's not about big teen population. We're expecting to import from population of 50 million, but we have more than 200 million in Nigeria. Then that means that we should create capacity. That I'm looking at the government to creating a capacity for us to go into production. When we go into production, our youths, Nigerians will be busy. Remember, an idle man is a devil's workshop. And an idle man will always murmur. An idle man will always not see anything good, even when things are working out fine. Then, it's part of it. Then, other solutions. When you create employment, you harness security. I've said over the media forum that everything rises and falls on security. John Maxwell says it falls and rises on leadership. Me, I'm equally saying, because if there is no security, you've invited me to come to this place, and I know there is no security in Edinburgh, I won't come here. And you will not leave your house. If you know that you are not going home to meet your family that told you bye-bye, will not tell you welcome. Chris, you won't be here. They should beef in our security, because part of the things that we're talking about is that people sometimes are killed during the electoral campaign. Some are killed right in the polling booth. Some are killed while, you know what happened in Enugu State now? Somebody, a political aspirant, senatorial, was shot and was set ablaze.
A candidate.
A candidate. Senatorial candidate. Another thing, such things should be a thing of the past. It's not a do or die affair. That was why I love Goodluck Jonathan's presidential call. Congratulations. That thing saved a lot of situations. And we didn't even say much that he said. He said that the Nigeria, my position here, does not want the life of any Nigerian. That the life of any, he doesn't want to lose a soul. If it is accepting what it is, accepting defeat, and now, congratulations, now carry go. Provided now nobody dies as a result of this particular electoral result. That is the political culture that I want Nigerian politicians to imbibe. It should be a political culture of sportsmanship. That's what they call spirit of sportsmanship. Last 2 days, I watched PSG and Chelsea. Even when the ball ended 90 minutes, I saw the defeated counterpart, PSG players, shaking the Chelsea players and extending their jersey. That is how politics is supposed to be run in Nigeria. To me, nobody should think of taking one's life because of power. These things are parochial. These things are immaterial. It's not supposed to be mentioned at all. I still wonder why people want to take someone's life because of power, which is ephemeral. Look at it. We should learn by mistakes. We should also learn from good governance. We should also learn from what is happening concurrently. I was telling my friend, look at, I posted something in my platform in Facebook. I said, look, Nigerian politicians should learn from today. What happened today in Nigeria is a history. And there is a history that repeated 1960, July 15, you can go and Google it. Today is historical in Nigerian history. 1966, July 15, go and Google it. Maybe when we come, it should be a discussion for another day. So history has a way of repeating.
But if you don't mind, could you just tell us what happened? This is a forum for enlightenment.
Someone was ousted from governance.
July
15th, 1966.
Thank you very much. Let's draw the curtain on the show. At this juncture, I must beg you, Dr. Emeka Nwanze, you've been very resourceful on the show. It's going to be work in progress. We look forward to dealing on issues like this on the arena from time to time, and we look forward to having you more and more, sir. Hoping that you keep obliging our call, sir. We hope you oblige our call when we call on you next time.
By His grace.
By His grace. Okay, dear viewer, that's the much we take on the program today. Our political culture will not grow if we begin to show political apathy. So let's get more interested, and the system will work. Until come your way again, I remain Chris and Ezeagu, thanking Dr. Emeka Nwanze for coming. Bye for now. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.